So the birds are fighting behind me. Yeah. Hey, cut it out. They're like really going at it. I'm kind of scared. Would they come after me? Oh, they left. Okay. Welcome. So, I have some updates. I'm going to be looking at my phone every once in a while to like check that I'm on track with what I'm talking about. And what I'm talking about right now, the funniest thing. So, I brought my yearbook to school. So what we do, one of the things that we do is they have an English test. The students, especially the 4th of SO students, and 4th of SO are like 10th graders. Yeah, so 10th graders. So after 10th grade, they get the option not to come back to school anymore. They can, so 10th grade for me, but that'd be like 4th of SO for them. So first of bachillerato and second of bachillerato is like optional high school. But if you want to go to college, then you have to do first of SO and second of SO. And then, or you can do trade school. And to do trade school, I don't think you have to do bachillerato, which is basically 11th and 12th grade. Yeah, the details on that for me are sketchy. I'm not too clear on that, but I know these students, my 4th SO students, are hilarious. So I have this one class where I work with them like 1-on-2, and 1-on-2, maybe 1-on-3, sometimes 1-on-4, and I go through this test that they have to take. So they have to take a speaking test, and so with the speaking test, like, they're asked questions. So, what is your opinion about this? What is your opinion about that? What do you think about that? And then another question and then another section of it might be like problem solving. Or like, if you had to work on a team and do this, role play. If you had to work on a team and do this, how would you do it? And the next thing would be like role play. So these are some things that they have to do. And so I do the practice exam with them. So on the last section we were working on, it was like, if you had to make basically like a yearbook for your school, what would you put it in? It was a school magazine, but like they had no concept of what like a school magazine or a book for their school would look like. So I happened to have brought my yearbooks to Spain with me. Well, I brought 3 of them, and I brought them to school today, and it was hilarious. So I have it was 3 guys with me, and they're looking at the yearbooks, right? And this one guy, he's like, I'm gonna call him C. He was like, I'm not Ross's. I was like, what's Ross's? He was like, I'm not Ross's. I'm like, what's Ross's? He was like, I'm not racist. Like, eventually I got to the point where I was like, oh, racist. He was like, yeah, I'm not racist. And he was like, but everybody in here is black. Oh my gosh, I cracked up. Like, and I could tell he felt comfortable because he felt relieved because I was laughing. But he was looking at my yearbook, and for those who don't know, like, I went to historically black college. So, you know, most of the students in that book are black. And then the kid on the other side, he was looking at my high school yearbook, and he's looking at my high school yearbook, and the kid is like, yeah, this one too. I'm like, yes, I went to school with a lot of black people. I did. Like, in the town I live in, there's not that many black people. There's like, I think there's about, I could say like 20 students, maybe 15 students that I've seen that are black, and they have a lot of students here, a lot. So it's like a middle school and a high school. It's like a 7th grade to 12th grade situation that we got going on here. And yeah, so I guess I can understand like a whole yearbook majorly black. And so I brought a yearbook for my 5th grade class. I brought a yearbook for my senior year in high school, and I brought a yearbook for my freshman year in college. So the yearbook for my elementary school was kind of diverse. I went to a Cobb County school, and there's black students, white students, anyway. So like, my let me call him R. My student was trying to look for me in that yearbook, and he was like pointing to every black kid. He was like, "That's you?" Like a black girl. I'm like, "No, that's not me." She doesn't look like me. Anyway, then he found me. Once he found me, he was able to find me. He recognized my face. He was like, "You look the same." And I'm like, I think that was my high school yearbook that they were saying that. It's like, yeah, I haven't changed too much. Anyway, so that was funny. And then I started to show them like they asked me about my boyfriends. They were like, "So who are your ex-boyfriends?" I was like, I didn't really have a boyfriend in college, but I was like, I'll show you guys some of the guys I had a crush on. So I started pointing at guys that I had a crush on or I thought was cute, and they were like, yeah, he's handsome, yeah, pretty. And I was like, yeah. So then there was two guys on the same page. I was like, yeah, I had a crush on. I was like, yeah, I liked him, and I had a crush on him. And then they were like, one of them, R, was like, oh yeah, but he's pretty. And I'm like, yeah, you right. He got a smooth face. But then, but I was like, but that guy, he was such a chill person. He's just so cool. He was just chill. And then, what's his name? C was like, yeah, he seems like a good guy. Like, he was like, yeah, he's pretty, but he seems like a good guy. And I'm like, that's what I was saying. Thank you. Anyway, so that was really funny. Going back to my list, my handy dandy list. Okay, so there's this one, like, I don't know all the teachers here, but there's this one guy that I would see in classrooms, and every time I see him, he's a teacher, or I don't know what he is. He's not a teacher because he's not teaching the classroom, but when he would pop up, he would be. If he showed up, I knew it was a problem. Like, students they done messed up. That was attitude. So my most difficult class that I talk to you guys about sometimes, they were really annoying one day, and this guy popped up and he popped off, and I was like, now mind you, he is going off in Spanish, going off, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening today. Actually, he did this, but it was a day that they had actually been good. The class before that, they had got on my nerves. In that class, they had actually been straight. But he came out of nowhere, and he was just popping up. And I was like, I guess this is delayed karma. It was funny. So then that happened like a month ago. So I might have actually, or a month or two ago. So I might have mentioned that before. But recently in another building, so there's multiple buildings on this campus, and so in another building, I've never seen him in this building. Like, he's always in building D, but I was in building F this day, and this one student was coming back to class late, and I didn't know the situation for why the kid was coming back to class, but he came back to class, that kid came back to class, and so did that man who just be showing up. He just started going off on them. He was going in, and I was like, and then the actual teacher for that class was like, you can go. I was like, thanks. Sorry for you guys. Entertaining to watch. And the students are just looking, and they're just staring, just like, okay, yeah. I ought to be a student again. Yes. Also, in the time since I've last recorded, my cousin / homie / best friend from the beginning. I tried to make it rhyme. Whatever. So my cousin, she came to visit me. And that was so cool. Like, I have a friend, I have family who has come and visited me in Madrid. Oh my gosh. So cool. It was great. So I got to show her my school. She came to my class. That was great. I took her to like this like concert, this jazz concert thing. Oh, no. Normally it's a jazz concert there, but this time it was a Latin vibe. It was like Latin vibes. Yes. And yes, what else? Where else did I take her? took her to the Zara flagship. So I didn't know what a flagship store was before she got here, but I guess a flagship store is a store that's like either the first store where a famous store is located. Like, so Zara is the store I'm talking about, and Zara is based here in Madrid, or started here in Madrid, and one of their first major stores, which is what I think a flagship store is here in Madrid. It started in Spain, but the flagship store is in Madrid. Yeah, so anyway, we went there. She was very happy. Very happy. She was like over the moon. That was cool. Got some interesting shaped donuts. That was fun. What else? We went to a flamingo night, a flamingo show. So I had gone to a flamingo show when I first got here, but this one was cool. It came with the dinner too. Like, it came with the dinner and sangria. Like, had all this type of fruit inside, and I was like, oh, this is good. And they had olives, and that was great. And I had paella, vegetarian paella. How do I feel about paella? I would rate it like a 5. I think paella is rice, so I think you have to really do bad for me not to like rice. But just in general, I think it's like a 5 on my scale of like what I want to eat. But that was straight. I like the sangria. That was cool. I think that was my first time having sangria, and I was like, oh, this is cool. From there we went to walking down the streets, and so like we were singing, or Nyla specifically was singing the Star Spangled Banner. Like, she can sing, so she is belting out the Star Spangled Banner. I'm joining on the parts and the notes that I can hit, and we just walking down the streets in Madrid singing Star Spangled Banner. Very well, might I add, especially when I hit the right parts, and it was just hilarious, a moment to remember. Also, guys, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, there is this jazz event that I go to on Thursdays. It's called Afro Jam, and they're like, when I say Afro, you say jam. Afro Jam, Afro Jam. Anyway, so they play like, have R&B vibes. Some people are singing in Spanish, rapping in Spanish, but it's like an R&B vibe to it. And so they got the drummers and, the keyboardists doing their thing. There's saxophone person doing their thing. Y'all. Oh, and the host singing. Y'all. The host is a beautiful, beautiful specimen of a man. Beautiful specimen of a man from Dominican Republic, and just singing. And beautiful specimen of a man with a beautiful voice to go with it. Honestly, his voice is honestly soothing. There was one night I was there and I was a little bit upset, like I was slightly annoyed, and I was just leaning in the corner and I was just listening to his voice. It was soothing, right? But behind him was this adorable bass player who had like the vibe that I like. I was like, he's adorable. Who is that man? Anyway, so after that show, when I first saw him, I was looking for the host because I wanted to ask him about like photography or whatever. So for the event, so I was looking for the host, but I saw the guy, like he was standing right there, and I just kept walking directly up to him, and I was like, hi. I didn't say it just like that, but I was like, hi. Maybe I did say it like that. I was like, hi. I was definitely looking. I was like, hi. And he was like, hey. And I was like, habla inglés? Do you speak English? And he was like, not really. I forgot how he said it, but he said not really. And I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, he said in Spanish that he was learning though. I was like, oh, really? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, I teach English. And like, I said I was an English teacher in Spanish. And then he was like, oh, you're the one I'm looking for. I was like, yes, I'm the one you're looking for. I was like, no, but I did. I was like, yeah, I'm the one you're looking for. And so then we exchanged contacts. So like, because I actually do like offer tutoring services. So that was cool. And I was just kind of staring I literally was mesmerized, guys. Like, flat out mesmerized. And like just smiling up at him, he's smiling back at me, and then I gave him a hug, and then I walked away because that was all the level of excitement I could take in that moment. I was like, okay, cool. He has like this soft, quiet, chill vibe, like musicianist. He seems a little bit quirky, maybe a little bit of a quiet weirdo. Yeah, all of that vibed. Anyway, so I walked away, and so after the Afro Jam like event is over, they have a what do you call it? There's like a techno night, like bum, 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 bum. So yeah, so that's playing after. So the DJ's playing, and I go to the other side of the dance floor, and I'm like, I'm just kind of dancing there for a minute. I'm about to go home because it's like over, but I'm just dancing there for a minute. And so then he's on the other side of the floor with me, like. But he said something to this girl who's right there, and I'm like, oh, what's he talking to her? So like it looked like he was standing about 10 feet away, then he looked like he was standing a little bit closer, and I'm like, is he coming to me? Are we supposed to, like, do I need to prepare to talk again? Okay. I said like a lot of Spanish words that I know. I said I was an English teacher. Oh my God, he's getting closer. He's getting closer. Do I need to say something? I need to say something. So I was just like, I asked him what he was doing later, in Spanish, and then he was like, sleeping, and he said that in English, just like that. He was like, sleeping, and guys, I promise you, I totally forgot that it was like 12 a.m. at this time. It might as well have been 8 for me, like, and I was like, oh yeah. But I was like also very impressed that I had said, what are you doing later, in Spanish, and he had really understood me. So I was like, oh, but I said it right, and he was like, yes. So he said something else, and my mind, I was like, no, get the heck out of here. I cannot ruin this moment. He has my number. He's gonna hit me up later. I have to leave. So I said, like, I responded to whatever he said, and then I was like, all right, so I'm gonna leave now. Bye. So I left. So I wouldn't ruin the moment. It was a cute meet, and I didn't want it to end on an awkward note. So I was like, I'm leaving. So I left. He texted me the next day to ask if we could hang out, but then our schedules never worked out, and he was like kind of being flaky. I saw him again, and then like we're like, I'm trying to talk to him in a club in Spanish / he's like / English. At some point he started to like sing to me, but I was confused about why that was happening. But he was trying to get me to recognize what the song he was talking about. But he was like, oh, it sounded good, and I was like, yeah. But I was confused what his guys. Anyway, there was a point where he was like dancing near me, like, so I was trying not to stand near him the whole time, like, just like, oh, because he invited me to the show, and I was trying not to stand near him the whole time, because I was like, I don't want to assume that this is date. Like, he just told me to come. He sent me the invitation. So I was not sending him near the whole time. Anyway, I walked away at some point, or he walked away at some point, but then he came back and he was near me, but he wasn't standing right next to me, but he was dancing like 3 feet away from me, but like not with me. I'm like, what is happening? Are you trying to dance with me or not? He would like turn towards me, and then like just like his butt. I was so confused. Yeah. So this is how the story ended. It ended like when Nyla came, because I think that time that I was telling you about was the second time I saw him, and then there was some type of texting in between, like not much, but he was like, here, come to this event. So I went to the event. After the event, I was like, hey, do you want to come out to eat with me and my friends? He was like, yes. He was like, let me get my stuff. Mind you, I don't know exactly how you said it. I was looking at his gestures. There's so much, apparently like 70% of communication is like nonverbal. So much of what my interaction with him was nonverbal. And so then he got his stuff, and I was like talking outside of the event with some people, and he like left, and I was like, thought you were coming with us. Then he texted me like 2 hours later, and he was like, hey, I went and put my stuff down, like, Are y'all still like, what'd you guys get into or whatever? Bro, we went and got something to eat, and now we going home. So yeah, guys, it was sad, because like I actually developed a crush, and I forgot what it felt like to have a crush. It's like this heightment of emotion and excitement, but then all of these like put people on a pedestal, and then you start questioning yourself about everything, and you start having insecure thoughts that you haven't had in years, and it's like, oh my god, I can't, no. Anyway, and then there's people who don't communicate, even when on top of the fact that we speak two different languages. You can't say you about to leave. Why would you not say that you're gonna put your stuff there? Why would you just leave? Anyway, so that was that. Still adorable guy. Church friends. So I love my church friends because they helped me surprise Nyla with a going away dinner, and that was so cool. She was so happy, and they were so sweet because one of my friends hosted it at her house. They did it on a Wednesday night, like at 9 p.m. So it was very cool that they were like willing to like, you know, push their schedules, and like, yeah, they didn't know her, but they treated her with so much love. It was exactly what I needed and I wanted. And sorry guys, too close to my face. I'm gonna just let this truck go by. Howdy. So, okay. So, an update on learning Spanish. So, I mentioned a while back that this one girl, I was like saying, like, when I got here, I kind of was like, oh, Spanish is like, I had a class that first month I was here, and I was bored. I was falling asleep. I couldn't. It was a 3-hour class, man. I didn't have the attention span for such things anymore. I was like, I cannot. Mind you, I had already paid for this in my, like, coming here, so I could leave, but I felt obligated to be here because, you know, I had paid for it, and I didn't want to be a bad student. So I just was like, toughing it out. But after that, I was kind of mentally, and I don't know if I said it out loud to myself, but I was like, oh, this is not something you're going to be able to learn. Cool. So I kind of just, I wanted to do it, but I don't know how to explain it. But then I started to want to do it more and more, and I started to try here and there. And ultimately, I didn't know what the plan was. It was like, how do you conquer a whole new language? What's the plan for this? What's the plan of attack? I just start learning random words. Where do I start? There's verbs, there's nouns, there's sentence structure. Where do I start? How do I there's pronunciation. It was just too much. So one time at a basketball game, I mentioned to you guys that I said out loud, man, I wish I could understand you. And this girl was like, learn Spanish. And I was like, what you think I'm trying to do? But I was like, yeah, I'm trying to. And then she was like, you're not trying hard enough. And I was like, very offended, and very annoyed, and just indignant. That's what it was. I was like, what's trying harder? And she was taken a little bit aback by the aggression I came with. And then she was like, well, so-and-so, she was always around Spanish people when she came. Okay, so I just humbled myself and said, all right, cool, hang around more Spanish people. But I get sad sometimes being left out, or feeling left out, because I can't do one of my favorite things, which is talk to people. And it's like, they can't understand me, and it hurts, and I can't understand them, and I'm missing the jokes, and people are laughing, and it became a hard thing. Like, it was harder. I came here for this reason, to push myself, but then it became hard, and I was just like, anyway, so, but the good news is I started studying a little bit, and I recognized that I had to start. So I do a lot of flashcards here and there. Right now I have a list of what I'm going to do. I'm going to learn colors, and then I'm going to learn the days of the week, and then I'm going to learn the months and the seasons, and then like opposites. What's up, down, arriba, abajo, like just finding my own flow. I've begun to evolve and find my own flow at learning. So I feel like I'm doing better. But when she said that, I was not feeling like I was trying hard enough. I didn't feel like I knew how to try or where to start. So her saying you're not trying hard enough was true for me. But it was like, but I want to know how to try harder, and I don't know. And you calling me out on this when nobody asked you for your opinion, it hurts. So the aggression was there. But this time, I'm at church. It was like last Saturday, and this girl is speaking in Spanish, and she points to me and she's like, you need to speak more Spanish, or she says something along the lines of that. And I'm like, yeah. But she is speaking in Spanish, and I'm catching some of what she says. And there's this kid who, he's from Germany, and he's been here for 3 months. And mind you, when he got here, I met him the first weekend, and he was like, yeah, I'm learning. He's here for college. He's like, yeah, I'm learning. I'm learning Spanish or whatever. So he's in college. And then, a month later, I saw him because it was a good time in between that and seeing him. And he was speaking Spanish. I was like, bro, what you do? Mind you, his mom speaks 10 languages. 10. And he speaks, this would be his 6th language. So, and he also is in school. So I'm not jealous. I'm impressed, but I'm not jealous. Anyway, so thankfully, and I love that kid. So I'm glad that I knew that information about him, because while she was talking smack, and I didn't catch all of it, she said Kyle. She was like, Kyle, and I recognized that she was comparing me to Kyle, and I was like, Kyle is different, bro. And I was able to say that in Spanish. I was like, Kyle is muy diferente. Yes, I think I said it right. And then, anyway, so while I didn't know what she was saying fully, my friends, the ones who hosted the dinner for me, they heard her. They knew what she was saying. And so this me telling you this is to highlight, because I feel like sometimes in the church we'll hear oh, people say stuff and I left the church because of this. But I appreciate church because of the way my friends defended me. And mind you, she I'm about to clear up. She's not a bad person, but they were really defending me, and they know me. They actually spend time with me. Both of these girls, neither one of them know me or spend any time with me outside of church, really. Or I was playing basketball. The first one. But we don't have a personal relationship for her to know about my life and know what I'm doing to try. And this girl doesn't know anything about my process of trying to learn Spanish, or even Kyle's process. I don't know if she knows Kyle's background. To compare me to him, yeah. So, but the point of this is when I found out, so what she said was, I found out later, was she's been here a year and he's been here 3 months. And he speaks Spanish, but she's still speaking English. But I'm glad I didn't hear all that in that moment. But at the same time, even if I did, I feel so much better about my journey of learning, that her saying that, it's you don't really know me. You don't really know him. And I feel good about my efforts. I do feel like I'm trying. I do feel like I'm progressing. I don't have to meet your standard of speaking Spanish. And then she said sorry. She had my friend translate for me. She was like, she had him translate that she was sorry, and she was doing it sentence by sentence. And then he inserted, she was like, I'm sorry, I hope I didn't offend you. And he was like, she said she's sorry for being very disrespectful. And then she was like, that's not what I said, but he was like, that's what you were doing. You're being disrespectful. Anyway, so yeah, I thought it was nice that she apologized. She was like, I didn't mean to offend. I don't make a habit out of comparing people, something like that. So I appreciate her apology, but I also really appreciated my friends standing up for me. But I really appreciate Tori standing up for Tori, because she wasn't bothered. Why? Because she knows what she's doing and what she's about. Yes, so that's how I feel about that. And yeah, and to end this video off, Later that day, I got to go to the park. And, oh, that was an international day, and they had food from all the different Spanish countries. They had Dominican Republic. Oh, Bianca made an amazing lasagna. It was good. And I had like 5 different rices from all of the different Spanish countries. Was it Venezuela? Yeah, was it Venezuela? I think it was Venezuela. They took the cake. They had coconut rice, and I was so here for it. Costa Rica was there representing. They had something I really liked too. Yeah, it was nice. It was so good. I was so happy. I think it was the most excited I've been about like food since I've been here. I was just, and I introduced. Oh, I brought pancakes for representing the U.S. because people don't really eat breakfast here. They have like pastries and coffee, and that's breakfast. So I brought pancakes, which there's a store called Taste of America, and they sell like American products, and they had like this off-brand of Aunt Your Mama. I didn't want the off-brand. I wanted the real brand. But there was another bigger box of Bisquick, and I think that was like Bisquick, so I got that. But the pancakes were falling apart, and I tried to make them look nice. They were like falling apart, and I was like, and I introduced it in Spanish. Well, this girl like piece fed me as I introduced it, but I was like, just like my country is made up of many different parts, these pancakes are made of many different things, and they're different parts. But I'm gonna let the wind just fly on by. You wanna see the flags? In my hair. Wait, damn, here? Oh. Dang it. No blowing in the wind today. So yeah, I made scrambled tofu. It was good. Scrambled tofu was good. They ate that stuff. My pancakes, they also really liked my pancakes. And they also liked my pancakes. I didn't like them as much, but they did, and they ate it, and I was like, yes. Afterward, I went to the park to this event for a Facebook group of people called Melon in Madrid, and I got to line dance with black people. It was so cool. People were staring at us like, what y'all doing? I'm like, we line dancing, y'all. We cha-cha. We electric sliding. We wobbling. And we Cupid shuffling. Okay, that's what we're doing. And at that event, I met this Kenyan guy who was really cool. We ended up talking, have a conversation, and then he was going to this concert afterward for this, what do you call it? This Kenyan group. And he was meeting this girl for like food before. She had flown in from Rome, but she's from Kenya to meet to go to the concert too. So we all went to like dinner, and I had dinner with them, and it was really cool just chilling with these people and talking with them. It was to meet random black people and have a whole connection. It was so easy to just chill and talk with them. And the girl who flew in from Rome, who's really originally from Kenya, mentioned that she went to school in Florida. She was like, oh, I went to an aviation school, because she started quizzing me on Boeing. And what, I was like, Boeing. And for all y'all who knew, I was like, what? She was like, you don't know what, she said ambush something. I was like, I don't know. She was like Boeing. I'm like, the plane stuff? I'm like, oh, good. So she said, well, I'm biased. I went to aviation school. And I was like, oh, cool. She was like, yeah, I went to the school called Emory Riddle in Florida. And I was like, my cousin went there. And I need to, like, my friends know most of my cousins because they all live in Georgia. But this one cousin, most of them don't know because she moved around a lot because her mom was in the military. She lived in Hawaii. She lived in Massachusetts. And in Florida because she went there. And I was like, oh, my cousin went there. And she's a couple years older than my cousin, but she was still there. She was in grad school when my cousin was there. And I said her name. She's like, oh, Imani Scott? Yeah, I know her. And then I showed her a picture. She's like, yeah, she was like looking at my sorority. Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, wow. How random is that? So, yeah. That's my updates for y'all, folks. Met some cool people, had new crushes that I had to get over. Had a lot of laughs with my students because they're funny. They are funny people. I did a presentation on Alumni Weekend because we did a presentation on what our Easter was like, what our Easter is like in the United States. And Easter for me is always Alumni Weekend. So I showed them that. I showed them like Dynamic Praise singing. They were clapping. All off beat, but it's okay. And yeah. So guys, some prayer requests that I've had are like working out. And I feel like I'm in a really good place right now. And I hope the best for you guys too. Know your truth so that when people say their comments, it can roll off. And then you can continue to have relationships with them because you're not as offended. Yeah. Peace out, guys.